So I'm here on a Sunday morning at the office here in beautiful, sunny Seattle. And I'm going through a lot of the data from my previous companies, existing companies, current clients, and I do this every so often. I just go back and look at what I was writing, look at what we were doing, look at the data, et cetera, look for patterns, update the operating system, all that stuff. And there's two places there are consistently the biggest profit windfalls. Consistently. And I'm going to tell you what those are. The first is in recapture reallocating. I just made a tweet about it. Cairo from Montana, Stacy, he came out and we found $353,000 just slipping through the cracks, just plugging the holes in the bucket. About half of that was basic recapture reallocate, like just going back and getting rid of expenses, negotiating, reworking stuff. It took 45 minutes to find about half of that. The other half was advanced tax strategy. It's not my world. That's a Dan thing. Things like R&D credits, depreciation, all that stuff that I don't really understand that well. That's why I have people smarter than me in my corner. The second one, that's the one that I'm going to share that I think will be the most actionable for you right now. And it's just understanding how people move, because you're not just hemorrhaging time and effort and money, also hemorrhaging prospects and clients and potential raving fans. And that's because we don't know how to move people. And one of the reasons I think a lot of online business owners struggle with the concept of moving people is the mental construct of a funnel. Because the physical construct of a funnel makes sense. You put water in the top, it funnels down, it comes out the bottom. And it has no other option. There's nothing else it can do. The water can't stop and get confused because it is being pulled to the earth by gravity. And when we have a mental construct of a funnel, a lot of times people just build stuff and assume people are going to go through it, but there's no gravity, right? People can stop and they could go the other direction, or they could go off and get distracted and do whatever. And that happens. My favorite quote, and it applies to every part of business, is most prefer the certainty of misery to the misery of uncertainty. And that was Virginia Satir, pediatric psychologist. Most prefer the certainty of misery to the misery of uncertainty, which means they rather stay in a horrible situation than use your product or service if it's confusing to them. And it seems nonsensical. Why would you want to stay in a horrible situation? Because most prefer the certainty of misery to the misery of uncertainty, right? So as people are going through the process, I just did this with a company that they sell consumer reports to Walmart and Target and large companies, and they're trying to have a broader reach, and they do well. I spent 3 calls with them, and only for a month. There's 3 calls over a month, and during that month, their sales increased by $20,000 a month. 0 extra lead flow. There was no leads above. There was no lift in leads, and this is all I did. Every single page I walk through with them, does it answer these 3 questions? Why am I here? Am I in the right place? And what should I do next? And surprisingly, most of the pages did not. Just answering those 3 questions, people were able to move through, right? Like if you imagine kids running up and down a soccer field, and then, when one kid gets confused, they just stop. That's what people do. They don't know what's going on. They don't try to guess. They just stop. Another example that I really like, which we call allegiance capital, building allegiance capital, is if somebody gives you their money and you say, do you trust me? And they say, yes. You say, okay, here's what you do. Walk 25 miles, and then you're going to see a big boulder on the side of the road. When you see that, take a left and go 2 more miles, and you'll be there. The end. At that point, they may have a very high level of certainty. Okay, cool. 25 miles, got it. But as they're walking, they're going to start second guessing themselves. Did they give me the wrong directions? Am I walking in a big circle? Maybe I should just turn and go back. Am I even halfway there yet? All these things creep in. Okay. Contrast that with the high level of allegiance capital, which would be hey, go 25 miles, rock, left, another mile, you're there. But after about a mile, you're going to start second guessing yourself. It's okay. You're going to look to the right, and you're going to see a mailbox that looks like a walrus. Right? If you see that, you're going the right way. And then Another mile ahead on the left, you're going to see a bunch of trees, like palm trees that stand out. They were imported from wherever. If you see that, you're still going the right way, right? So it's this ongoing level of certainty. You're going to be okay. You're going to the right place. I know exactly how to help you. That's what we want them to hear. Right? So when you're going through your stuff, your sales pages, your welcome, your confirmation, your delivery, how to use the product, just answer those questions. Look at every piece of material you have and does it answer, why am I here? Am I in the right place? What should I do next? Just do that. If you've done that, great. You've plugged some of the holes and you can move on to traffic and leads and all that fun stuff.